Okay, guys, this is video 2 or part 2 of intro to the schedule in CoConstruct with focus on the UTO division. I think that the most important question is, where do we get the line items, the tasks of a schedule that go into a schedule? Where do those come from? Well, they come from the estimate. The labor items that are in an estimate is what makes up the schedule tasks for each unit or each phase of a project. And we'll get into that here in a second. I want to clear up one thing from video 1 where we talked about assignees. Assignees, I mentioned in the last video that there is a confirmed button, box, checkbox, if you will. And the reason why we couldn't get it to pop up on the last video is you actually cannot have a LNC team member have a confirm box. That is reserved solely for trade partners. Okay. So for instance, if we pop in a trade partner here, see a little confirm box there. We save and close that. Gives them that little box there. There's actually, we have in our learning center in Drive, you can search, just search this straight out as search the how-to, or you can start with the index doc that we have in our learning center. It's always a great place to start your search for a how-to doc. But it will go through the steps of what the trade partner receives on their end, in their email, and what it says and that sort of thing. You have the ability to confirm that for your trade partner. I really recommend having them do it, and you not confirming that for them. There's a little bit of, you have the ability to do it yourself, but having the trade partner actually confirm those tasks themselves, there's a little bit of responsibility that's lodged in their head that, hey, I did click that myself. So if for some reason you've got a trade partner, labor subcontractor, again, I'll call it trade partners, that, I don't know, can't get on CoConstruct, is not very good with computers or something like that, and you can, maybe get them to send you a message or something saying that they do confirm the tasks and the dates, then you can go ahead and do it yourself, save and close, and that'll be right there. So if you do come across the rare occasion where you need to confirm a task for a trade partner, go ahead and do so, but definitely open up that task and write a note so that the rest of LNC, as well as that trade partner, can see that you were given permission, or you were asked to do so by that trade partner. Of course, start out with the date, and any note there, just explaining what happened. Maybe if you did receive something in writing, reference that also. Receive message in ELCO through the bid platform form, or maybe you got it through a spec and selection for this task, something of that nature. That'd be fine, but definitely if you confirm a task for a subcontractor or a trade partner, go ahead and stick in a note right here. Okay, so moving on. Got that cleared up from video 1, and we're going to move on now to where we're getting these items. And get asked this question like, Josh, we really need to go through what all these buttons mean up here. I'm going to do that really quickly, but the best way to learn these buttons is really by building your own schedule and using them. So starting from the right, the little guy, as we call him, this is our reassign guy. Schedule templates. There's another video about schedule templates. But schedule templates, because they're a template, they're typically assigned to a specific division or team or seat. Most times it's a seat, right? A particular person at Lagniappe National that is responsible for performing that one task for projects, and that's their job, right? That's what they do here each day. The Lagniappe project management style was developed based on an assembly line type mentality, right? So each seat that is on a team or a division does the same thing for every project we have over and over and over again. So they are, the idea is that our team members are excellent at doing that one small piece, and they're very efficient at it, and they become very good at it. So that means that the templates are brought in with just the name of a seat. So we use the reassign guy. If we had, for instance, let's pick a seat here. We'll pick software admin. We'll pretend that this was, this is a template and this came in assigned to the software admin. Well, reassign guy, what he does is, once a project is an actual project, you can't have, just you need a name. Who is it? Who's the actual human being that's responsible for that task? So you would select the name of the seat and assign it to the actual person that is in that seat and is responsible for those items for that project. So you would, assign it to this, going to this, reassign task reassign, great, bam. Now that's Joshua Schmidt. So another example of when you would use that would be if, let's say, you need to remove a trade partner from a project, either they back out last minute or they're not doing a great job and we have to ask them to leave, something like that. Instead of having to go through and switch their name out with someone else's or that type of thing, you can use reassign guy. Okay, critical path, an extremely important feature for projects. There is also some components of this that are used for the UTO schedule, but they're covered on a later video. This is this little guy right here. It looks like, I don't know, like maybe a movie ticket, something like that. If you look at the Gantt, the actual Gantt, it's got the name of each task next to it. Well, this just hides that, makes it go away or visible. Typically, a good idea to leave them on. Sometimes in a print view you can turn them off, but that's all that is. Okay, this is time spans. Real simple. Whatever the visibility is between Let me bring this down just a bit, guys. Whatever the visibility is between blue line and the end of the Gantt, this is just going to take you to the next one, right? The next section, if you will. So sometimes in a project, you can kind of get lost and you're trying to edit Gantt tabs over here, and you kind of get lost. This will kind of quickly get you to where you need to be. This four-way, really cool guy. You press this four-way, and all items, all tasks of that Gantt will immediately come into view. So that's the ultimate, hey, I'm kind of discombobulated and not really sure which way to go or where I'm at. Press this guy, everything immediately comes into view. Magnifying glass plus, same as anywhere else on the internet. On a computer, it brings you a little closer in. You're diving into, let's see, so for instance, this is weekly view, right? I'm sorry, this is daily view. Every day, we'll go out just a little bit, and we're at the week level, a little bit more. We're at the overall month level with the different weeks. This is a pretty popular view right here for fairly extended projects. And next level is, I think, a 6-month view. And then pretty much, annual, and then you go into quarterly and all the way out. So that's what that is. Expand all, press this guy, and every, what I call carrots, I'm sure I'll get some responses on what this is actually called. But the carrots, they collapse like that. You click them again, and they expand. If you notice, the carrot actually kind of points down when they're expanded, but this guy right here expands all, okay? This one contracts all, very simple. These guys, we will definitely be, you'll use these a lot, and we'll be talking about them here in a minute. This is basically how you indent, okay? As we mentioned before in a previous video, these are items that are against the bulkhead here, the ones that are touching this line right here. Then indent one level, brings you to this. That's a subtask of this, right? And then indent another level, and you've got the subtasks of that. So if you can do this as many times as needed to properly build a schedule. So you can add, right click, go down to add, and you can either put a task above or below. And if I do task above, see, it goes in at the same level of indentation as the one that I started with. Right click, add task below, same thing. But if I right click and go to add subtask, it's going to add a task with, as a subtask, a level of indentation below the one that I started with. So you'll also see that when a subtask is added, it bolds the task above, because now it's got a subtask below it. So that's how it kind of differentiates from task that does not have that. So the next one is delete, right? Cool thing about CoConstruct schedule is you can, let's see, so I'll just click on this and click the X, it's gone, right? Another, that cool feature I was just talking about, highlight one, click on one, and if you press and hold the control button, you can highlight as many as you want, right? So 2 things I need to delete, and I'm just gonna click one, press and hold control, click the other, and hit the X, and it's gone. I typically, I would probably suggest if you highlight what you need to delete, and then a couple. I'll tell you what, I'm gonna use the plus here, which is gonna add me some tasks at the very bottom every time. Whenever you click the this plus button here. It's going to add your task for you. That's what that is, plus task. Add task, but it adds them at the very, very bottom of the schedule. It's not very convenient. I recommend right-clicking. Well, you'll click and highlight it, then right-click wherever you're wanting to add a task, and simply add it above, below, or as a subtask. Let's see. So anyway, getting back to deleting, just right-click and hit delete is a little quicker way of doing that. One more quick cool feature. You can highlight an item, then press and hold Control and select which ones you want. If you accidentally highlight one that was an accident, no biggie. Just you're still holding down the Control button. You just click it again, and it'll take it off. But let's say there's several, a lot of tasks that you need to either indent or let's see, add task below. Let me so I can showcase this. Several items that you either need to indent or delete or whatever. Let's say we needed to indent further. We need to add these three here as subtasks of electrical. Okay, I've got them all highlighted. I'm gonna go up here, and if you look really close, this is an arrow pointing to the right here, and this is an arrow pointing to the left. So this one will decrease your indent. In other words, move it closer to the wall here, and this one increases, gets it further away. So you just look at the level of indentions here, and that's what they do. So you can highlight all three, click increase indent, and it brought them over, made them subtasks of electrical. Okay, I'm going to leave them highlighted, and I'm going to decrease indent. Then I'm going to right-click and delete them all. That's simple. So pretty cool features there. You'll definitely get very used to using the increase and decrease indent. Okay, so that's the buttons up top. Okay, so moving on into getting the, what do we build our schedule out of? How do we, kind of where do we start? All right, the schedule is basically, to simplify it, converting. Get this out of here. Converting an estimate to a schedule, right? You're taking the estimate for a project and converting it into a timeline that you and the rest of your team, the rest of the company, the client, the community where our seniors live, all can review the schedule on a regular basis and to identify when completions are done. It also is accountability. It lets everyone involved in that project know what we talked about in the first video as the 3 W's. What is it, who is it, and when is it due? When does it start? That's another big one. I always talk more about the when does it due, but when it starts is actually also a very, very important one, as any seasoned PM would tell you. So in order to convert an estimate, I've got one pulled up here, into a schedule, schedule's a little bit different. It's not exactly the same, but it is a great place to start. Let's take Unit 204 here. So I'm going to have the Unit 204 on one screen. I don't have the ability to show you 2 screens at once, so I'm going to do my best here. I may have to put this back up as a tab, but we've got Unit 204 estimate items over here on the right, and the schedule on the left. Okay, so yeah, see, there we go. It went away. Okay, here we go. This is able to have both screens on one screen. So Unit 204, here is the estimate on the right, the schedule on the left. Pretty simple estimate here. Labor items, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 labor items here. And if you look at the schedule, we've got 3. Okay, let's look and see how we did that. So we started with, look at the estimate. We're painting the doors per side. We're painting the trim per side. We're painting the walls. Well, if you think about that, they have to be estimated this way, but they're all going to be done by the same company or person or persons, right? It's going to be one team doing all the painting. So we have to estimate this way because the pricing for for each of these things may differ just a little bit. So we've got to break them apart on the estimate. But as far as the schedule, we can put them all together. I would say this is the biggest mistake I see with schedules. I see very overly complicated schedules that have every line item from an estimate in as a task on the schedule. And what happens is when we get overly complicated on a schedule, you don't keep up with it. It's very hard to, it's laborious. It takes forever to keep up with all those line items all the time. So simplify it. That's kind of rule one. You want to simplify what's in your estimate and get the story told of what we're doing on that unit or project, and as little amount of line items as you possibly can. So anytime you're able to combine some, review it a couple of times. Whenever you get done, review it one more time and see, okay, is there any more simplification I can do? Can I add anything else together at all? Another thing that you're going to want to do is think about the end user. Who is actually doing? Another thing that you're going to want to do when keeping who is doing the items in mind, when you're looking at the estimate, you want to, if sometimes the estimate line item it could involve more than one person for one single item. Now, we try to write our estimates where that doesn't happen because the estimate line items, the individual estimate line items, are actually the same exact line items that are used to build the purchase orders for subcontractors, trade partners. So, if we were doing a purchase order for painting on this project, we would build a bid platform out of these 3 painting lines. And then ultimately, those same 3 line items would make up the purchase order. So if you come across a line item in your estimate that, hey, the same one subcontractor is not going to do everything involved in this one line item, then you have to separate it. There are some older estimates still running around in co-construct and possibly even some active projects where the estimate is composed of line items that will involve multiple subcontractors, trade partners, or involve material also. So it would be, furnish and install or something like that. These schedule items are labor items. They're not material items. So you want to make sure that there's no material, mentioned other than if specifically needed to describe the task. There should be no material in your schedule. Okay. If the arrival of a material item is, very important, that would be a critical path item. Um, then go ahead. You can put in the delivery of that material as a line item. So, for instance, let's see, task below, you might put caps locks. No lowercase letters in your schedule ever for any reason whatsoever. I mentioned that in video 1. Always all caps. Let's see. Delivery of rolled carpet. Okay, so if this was something that you really can't start. This one. Can't start this without that, right? So having that delivery, if there's some ambiguity as to when that will arrive, it's okay to put that in there. But typically installing the carpet, we know that we can't do it without the delivery of the carpet. So the start date of this will change based on when that delivery is. So, but if it helps you, you can go ahead and put that in. That's another thing. Project schedules are a living, breathing. It's a live item. Schedules change. Plans change. One of our senior leadership team members, Thomas, has a saying that, as with all best laid plans, it's time to change. Time to change it. Something always goes differently. Not always wrong, but different. Some of the times wrong. That's why editing the schedule is something that is done on nearly a daily basis. If you are in project management, your schedule is something that you live and breathe every day. At the very, very least, on a weekly basis, you're doing your updates to get caught up on what's happened in the previous week's time. So keep that in mind, and it's okay to make changes to your schedule as long as those changes are communicated to your owner, the client, and your community during your OAC or MEMO calls. So, and I'm sure they will expect an explanation, but it's understood that schedules move. So enough about that. Oh, it's also, that fact is definitely something that you mentioned during your pre-construction meeting with the owner and the community. So getting back to the actual line items. For painting, we put all 3 of these in as one item. Paint, we have the walls, the doors, the trim, and the crown. This is a good example of, well, if we're painting all the trim but only the crown seems to be called out here. So does that mean we're not painting the rest of the trim? Things like that. If there's ambiguity, get clarity from the estimating team. Get clarity from your blueprints, your drawings. You should know your drawings like the back of your hand. I always say, if you don't know your drawings better than the people who wrote them, then you're behind. You're behind the ball. You have to know what is in your drawings better than anything else on a project. It will save you. It will mitigate mistakes and problems in the future. So know the page numbers, know the specs, every part, every icon. So in this case, we've got trim and crown. Well, are we painting all the trim, or are we only painting the crown molding? In this case, it is only the crown molding. So we'll take out trim and leave in crown. If it was baseboard, crown, all the trim in a unit, then we would just have it as trim. Next, take a look at how the line items on this schedule are always starts with the trade and then colon and then the description. Trade, colon, description. That is very useful in this next step that we're going to review. You typically don't have very many. Once you have a trade put in, it's unusual. It does happen, of course. You're about to see. You'll have it's rare that you'll have more than one, but it is sometimes needed. For instance, the demo includes a lot of items here. We wanted to be very specific as to what gets demoed. So there's 3 demo lines here. We'll talk about how to plan out the timing on these here in a minute. But in general, if you have multiple trades listed over here on your estimate, then that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to have multiple lines listed on your schedule. Again, combine, condense. That's a big time saver for you throughout the project. So big reason why we use, I'm going to minimize this guy real quick. Whoa. Search, task name. This is really starting to get into, now you've got all your lines in the schedule. When you're inputting those lines, do not worry about the timing. Okay, it's one of the mistakes I see is folks trying to edit too much at one time. Stay singular in your tasks when building a schedule. Okay, get all of your line items put in. Get happy with those. Get your indentions correct. What is a subtask? What is a bulkhead task? That sort of thing. Keep your teams in mind, and I said I'd come back to this, and here I am coming back to it. Keep your teams in mind, because once you have the data in, all the tasks are in, your estimate is fully represented here on your schedule. Now it's time to start putting the timelines together, right? Actually building out that Gantt. So an added benefit of putting in the trade in front of the task is you're able to do this. If you search paint, all the paint items, only the paint items will pop up. This is a very useful tool for doing what we are about to do. Okay, so here we go. We've got paint written into our a little search here, and only only the tasks with the word paint are brought up after typing that in. So it's important to remember that if you search when you use this tool, it is only going to bring up tasks that are the furthest level of indention. And what I mean by that is if you search something that is a task that has subtask, a bold task, For instance, if I type in 411, nothing comes up, even though we know there is a 411 here. Let's see, I'll use our collapse all. We know that there's a 411 here. When we search it, it doesn't come up, because this search is only going to recognize subtasks. So keep that in mind. Type in paint, it brings up all the paints because those are all subtasks. Those are all the furthest level of indentation. So let's move this over. We're going to start getting these into shape. Earlier, I mentioned the ability to. Oh, by the way, guys, this can kind of become a little laborious. I get it, but you have to work your bars over here. This one is going to move the entire schedule up and down. I try to keep it where my buttons are just barely visible, or the task search is just barely visible. But it's something that you're kind of constantly moving up and down. This moves the schedule only. This moves the entire thing. So keep that in mind whenever you're doing your edits. It'll help help it go a little quicker, having everything in view. Okay, earlier I mentioned being able to move the column. So in what we're about to do, it's good to have the number of work days, that column, right next to the schedule. Let's shrink down our ID numbers. You can have those where they're just barely visible and still be able to see them if needed. But having those work days is important for what we're about to do. Then I'm going to move my blue line over here so I can see. I move my blue line when I know that it's work days, so I can just barely see the number of work days in here. I know that they're days. I don't need it to tell me that it's days. So I cut the word days out like that. So now I've got all my paints, and I'm thinking about on site, right? I'm thinking about, okay, how long, start with the length of time you believe it's going to take to complete each of these tasks, okay? If you get a little lost on this, there are plenty of people that were more than happy to help give you an idea of how to base the length of time that a task will take. But in general, so this unit looks like it's 1,889 square feet of wall space that needs to be painted. Okay. In general, so with a wall square footage of 1,889 total square feet in the unit, if you take a look at, we've got a note that explains the total square footage that, on average, that a skilled painter can complete in a day. And if you read through this, this is basically the average skilled painter can paint anywhere from 150 to 350 square feet of wall in 1 hour. we use the average of 200 square foot per hour. That leaves a little time for prep work and cleanup. As mentioned here, by the way, this is a note that is visible to the trade partner. We spoke a little bit about this earlier. So basically, a good way of doing this is if your schedule is based on days, working days. So if you're looking at a paint team of two people, two skilled painters, then you've got you're basically averaging 3,200 square foot of paint per day. Okay, if we started out with 1,189 square feet of paint that needs to be done. If we basically divide 1189 by 3,200, it's roughly 60%. We don't have the ability to do half days, so we'll put that down as a 1 day project. Getting back over to, let's see, let's try the next unit of paint, unit 220. They have 3951 right here. So 3951 divided by 3,200 is 1.23. Now, again, we don't have the ability to give partial days, so that's a 2-day paint project. Okay, so a little bit of math involved there. Most tasks of a schedule you're able to do this way. Once you define how much of the units of measurement, whether it's linear feet of something or square yards or carpet or whatever the unit is, however much can be completed in a day, then go from there and simply take however much you have and divide it by that completion rate. Anytime you do this, always put how you got your math in a note that's visible to the trade partner. Again, most of the trades, we have a general idea, general basis, if you will, already in some of these items. But again, if you don't know, ask a fellow product manager, and I'm sure they'll help. If you cannot, if you just can't get the answer on that, start basic. Go all the way down to the smallest measurement, which is the hour. So figure out how much one can do in an hour. If you don't know, take a stab at it. Take a guess. I know a lot of times we want to Google it, and that's fine. Go ahead and Google, but use a little bit of common sense also. Some of the time frames that can be found out on the internet are a little bit silly. Most trades you can find a chat room or board, if you will, where the tradesmen from whatever the trade is have posted how much they can do in a day. So a little bit of bragging there. So take that into mind, and just remember that the trade partner is going to have to conform with this timeline. So you're going to want to build a little bit of a buffer there, and they're not going to be the quickest in the world for those things. So if on average it's looking like a studio is going to take 1 day to paint and a 2-bedroom is going to take 2 days to paint, then look, it sounds like we pretty much have the timeline from there. This again, guys, this is not an exact science. Don't spend hours upon hours going through and dividing every item, every task you have on here. Once you get the general idea, go ahead and go with it. Use it and get that timeline set out for each task. So if we go through and 2-bedroom, 2 days, I'm just going to click on these and put in the length of time. Here's a 1-bedroom, kind of in between a 2 and a 1. Give them benefit of a doubt. We'll go 2 days. So we'll go 2 days on all of these units, other than the studio. We've got a minor construction item here that popped up under paint. Let's see what that is. Reinstall existing lights and shutters after paint. Okay, so it's just bringing this up because the word paint is mentioned here. Got nothing to do with what we're actually doing. So one way to get that out of there is search paint : and those should disappear. Yeah, because only the paint : items are gonna have that colon after it. Let's see, move this over. Okay, so we have all of our units set for taking 2 days to do the painting. Now we're going to start getting into predecessors. So now we have all the paint that's needed input. We have the amount of time each one is going to take input. We didn't worry about anything else. We worry about one thing at a time. Now we're gonna start looking at predecessors and successors. Again, those are basically the same thing, depending on which one you're talking about. The quickest and best way to install predecessors and successors is by using what we call the balls. We call it that because if you hover your mouse over each task box, there is a white ball on the left and white ball on the right, both sides. Let's go through what some of as you're scrolling through here, your cursor is going to turn into all kinds of cool stuff. So let's talk about this for just a second. As you highlight in the middle, by the way, if you're way out here, okay, it's impossible to do what we're about to do. I've seen folks really struggle with this. It's not difficult, guys. Just zoom in just a little bit, and it'll get nice and big for you, and you can have all this functionality a lot easier. Make it easier on yourself. So hovering dead center, you've got a 4-way arrow. That means that you can move that item left or right. Okay, there we go. We've got 2 days set up for each of the studios one day. So we've got the proper timeline input for each of these tasks. By the way, if you look next to the unit, the bold unit task here, we've got the number of days here are going to be a culmination, an addition of all of the tasks, all the subtasks for that unit. So that's the total number of days that the current schedule. Remember that these haven't been edited yet all the way. So this is the total number of days that this unit will take. It's the total duration. Okay, from the start date of the first task item to the finish date of the last task item. Okay, so getting back into the balls, you've got we've got a couple of them lying out here. There we go. So the balls, let me copy some of these. So we have our date set. We have our timeline set, and as we hover over, we have the 4-way arrow, and this one means you can move it, the whole thing, forward, back, any direction you want. It maintains the length of time. If you need to go longer, just a quick edit. quick edit ability here without having to actually edit the dates in the column. You hover over, if you want to make it longer, make the finish longer or further out, you kind of hover until you see the arrow that's just left to right and grab that, and you can move the dates that way. That's on either side. Let's see, there you go. Sometimes it takes a little precision. Again, you can always zoom in to make it a little easier on yourself. Another cool feature is, and this one you do have to be zoomed in just a little bit, a good bit. Remember, this is a one-day item, but down here at the bottom, if you look really close, there is a black triangle on this bottom corner here, right there. Kind of see it there. If you hover over it and you get the left to right arrow on the bottom left, you can control the percentage of completion of that item. Okay, so when you're doing your edits, these are all quick edits, editability that you can do typically when you're doing your call with your subcontractors once a week, or your LNC project call, which is twice a week. One of them is dedicated to schedule. This is where you're going to want to make those edits during that call because it's very fast. You've already got your structure down. Everybody's in agreement on all this stuff. You're just editing, moving timelines, and percentages of completion. So let's set our predecessors and successors. We're going to hover over the line item, and what we're going to want to do here is this paint team, this subcontractor, the way we've got the units for a UTO community is we've got the units in the order that they will be completed. Okay, if there is a change and the community wants a unit, let's say this unit they want done before this unit, then go ahead and move those into the order that they need to be in. Look at that, it indented it when I moved it, so I'll use my little decrease indent and get it right. But so yeah, it is always best to have the communities listed as they will be completed. Setting those predecessors, we're going to hover over this ball here on the right till we get the little finger hand, and we're going to click and hold it. Click and hold it. We're just going to pull out this little string here. We're going to attach that string to the beginning, the start ball on the next unit, and we're going to drop it, and it's going to connect them. We're going to do that to this one. We're going to do it to each one all the way down. Now, it's already taken into account what we've set up already. It knows that, hey, we're off on Sundays, so this is a work day. We're off this day, and this is a work day. So I know that this task is going to take 2 days, and it's 2 working days, this one and this one, off on Sunday. So that's all settled. Let's see. We'll use our handy-dandy little button right here to go to the next time frame. Connect those two on down. So now we've got all of them connected. Once we have all of them connected. A little problem with the time on that is unit 497. Well, where are you, 497? Here we go. Here's our 497. And we'll continue connecting these on out. So what this means is, as you're doing your scheduled calls each week, if there's an issue, if we're going to publish changes, Again, want to do that throughout. Anytime you're editing your schedule, make sure you're publishing publish your schedule throughout the changes. But as you're having your call, something moves. Maybe someone didn't show up to work, or there was a change from the community, or whatever. What having your predecessors and successors built will do for you is, let's say we had Unit 303 scheduled as a 2-day to start on November 3rd and be completed at the end of November 4th. Well, something happened, and we've got to extend that. Well, when we move that, watch the items down below. Watch all of the tasks, the paint task for all of the unit numbers below 303. They moved automatically. So if you make edits to line items that have predecessors and successors set, everything below that will move with it. So again, your edits can become really, really quick when doing that. So we've got those set for paint. If you go back and we'll take out the word paint, and what you're going to want to do is think about each one of these, as I mentioned earlier, as being a team from whether it's a subcontractor or an LNC team that works with us full time. You should talk to your subcontractor, find out how many people, these are the teams that we have. You can involve them in building these, especially as you start getting into UTO communities that we've never worked in before. Chatting with the subs that you'll have working at a community and finding out, hey, this is what I'm thinking on demo. How many guys will you have will you have on demo? And then build it from there. They may say, well, I'll have one person on demo. Well, once that demo crew gets ahead, then they may drop back and do something else. But you would basically do the same thing here. This unit, I believe, we've got each of these as a 1-day item, but it won't take 3 days to do all these. It might take 2 days. So we'll connect this one as a predecessor of this guy, but then these two might start on the same day. So by connecting the two start dates on here, now those are in line together. So those are being done simultaneously by that team. And you follow the same pattern all the way down. At the end of it, your schedule is fully connected and built, and you can really trust the days that are input into this. Involving your subcontractor on how many people are going to be doing each one of those things, each one of these tasks. Not only that, but more about this project, chances are, than they do. They're brand new to this. You spent a lot of time studying it. Tell them what teams you need. Tell them that you're thinking one demo person, 2 painters, and then we'll have a plumbing subcontractor coming in that can do it on do the project at this day and it'll take him 1 day, 2 days to do it. Or maybe you're in the UTO world, you've basically got a subcontractor that is assigned to a specific set of units, maybe all units. Some communities have one subcontractor that do all what we call the minor construction, and some communities have multiple. But others, in that case, that minor construction subcontractor will do the plumbing and electrical because it's non-permitted. They'll do all that work. For instance, we've got electrical here to remove some flush mount lights. Well, we don't need a permit for that. We wouldn't bring in a licensed electrician to pull a permit for this. Your minor construction subcontractor would do that. So you'd identify which of the team members that he has on site would be doing that. So another level of organization on the schedule that will help with this is by identifying the team that will be doing that item. So for instance, if you've got a demo team and you're gonna, we've played with this before, and at the back, name the teams. I think we've got a community that's got a Batman team and a Wonder Woman team. You could call them Team 1, Team 2, Team A, Team B, whichever. But what this allows you to do is keep up with, if your Wonder Woman team is your painter and your Batman team is your sort of helper. They do all the demo. They do, let's see, oops. They do the demo. Maybe they install some of the accessories once a unit is done. Let's see. Here's some accessories. Yeah, they would install the washer and dryer, which is just put them in place and plug them in. By having the team identified on the line on each task, then you're able to search that particular team, searching the Batman, and all of those pop up. So you can look at the schedule items to make sure that they make sense, that one team can't be in two places at once. So you can adjust your schedule accordingly if you've got a team that's doing more than one trade. So, we've linked all of our demos, but like I said, demo will go a lot faster than, say, paint and drywall work, right? So you may need to assign teams and do the same level of successor and predecessors that we were doing before, but do them according to the team, because the team will be doing more than one thing. Let's see if we zoom out way back here. Let's see, we'll take this ball and connect it over here. Move it up. That ball, move it over here. There you go. So even though these are different trades, what we will want these guys, the team members that are on Team Batman to actually do is demo this unit, then stop and go ahead and doing these installations. So this is concept. You have to kind of think your way through what the teams are and get on the same page with your trade partners and build out the schedule that fits. So that's it for today's video. Video 2 of the schedule series. Stay tuned. There's one last part that will dig in a little bit deeper on some of the schedule features. But thank you very much for watching, everyone.